Hello everyone, today we are going to look at some quick solutions of All India Akash Test Series JEE Advanced 2019 Test 2A Paper 2 Code E and F. So let's start with the first section. This section has 5 questions and each question has 4 options, out of which one or more than one option may be correct. So let's start with the first question. Question number 21. Consider the following statements and pick the incorrect statements. So the examiner is interested in talking about the ortho and the para-hydrogen. So let us look at the first option, option A. Both ortho and para-hydrogen have the value of total nuclear spin equal to 1. Students, this statement is incorrect. The ortho hydrogen has parallel spins, whereas the para-hydrogen has opposite spins. So what will happen is, in the ortho hydrogen, the parallel spins will add up and then it is going to have a total nuclear spin equal to 1. So nuclear spin of ortho hydrogen, it is equal to 1. Whereas if we talk about the nuclear spin of para hydrogen, so it shall be equal to 0. So they'll cancel out each other and the net result will be equal to 0. Let us look at option B now. Ortho and para hydrogen are interconvertible forms. This statement is correct, students. They exist in equilibrium. Let us look at option C. It is possible to isolate the pure ortho hydrogen by lowering the temperature. This statement is also incorrect, students. So if you look at option D, which is in continuation to the option C. So on lowering the temperature, equilibrium constant for the following dynamic equilibrium increases. So ortho converting into para hydrogen, this statement is correct. As the temperature of the equilibrium mixture is lowered, the equilibrium shifts in the direction of the para hydrogen. So when we decrease the temperature, we are going to get a mixture in which the concentration of para hydrogen increases. Okay. So statements B and D are correct and statements A and C are incorrect. And since in the question we have to select the incorrect statements, so we have to mark option A and option C as the answer to our question. Moving on ahead to the next question. Question 22. Consider the following order about group 15 elements. Pick out the correct ones. So in the first option, the examiner seems to be interested in the atomic radius. Students, this option is correct. We know that atomic radius smoothly increases as we move down the group. In the next option, the examiner seems to be interested in knowing about the radius of the trivalent anion. So again, NPAS, we're moving down the group. So as we move down the group, the radius of the trivalent anion also is going to increase. So this is also correct. Let us talk about the C option now. So we have to compare the melting point orders. So melting point does not follow a very smooth trend. It first increases up to arsenic. Then after arsenic, it decreases from antimony to bismuth. So students, this option is also correct. Let us look at option D now. So in the option D, the examiner is interested in talking about the density of these elements. So we know that the density smoothly increases in case of group 15 elements. So students, this order is also correct. So students, we have to mark all 4 statements as the correct answer to our question. Moving on ahead to the next question. Question 23. In metallurgical processes, the ore is reduced to metal. There are several types of reduction. Which of the following are correct for the reduction process? So let us look at the first option. Metals lower in the reactivity series can be extracted by hydrometallurgy. This statement is correct, students. Low grade metals like copper, silver, etc. can be extracted by the hydrometallurgy. Let us look at option B now. In self-reduction, the ore is first combusted in a limited supply of air, and then the partially oxidized ore is further roasted in the absence of air. So students, this is correct. Let us talk about the example of lead. So we have PBS, which is first partially roasted. It converts into PbO plus SO2. And then the uncombusted ore, the PBS which is left behind, is allowed to react with this PbO form. And it's just heated in the absence of air further to give us Pb plus SO2 again. So statement B is also correct. The first statement was also correct. Let us look at option C now. Metals with highly negative reduction potential values are generally extracted by the electrolysis of their molten salts. This statement is correct, students. In the refining of metals with very high negative reduction potential, that is very reactive metals like sodium, potassium, etc., they have to be all extracted by the electrolysis of their molten salts. Let us look at option D now. Metal sulfide ore is directly converted to metal by cupellation. This statement is incorrect, students. cupellation cannot convert the metal sulfide ore directly into the metal. So in the given question, the examiner is interested in knowing about the correct answers. So we have to mark option A, option B and option C as the correct answer to our question. Let us look at question number 24 now. Ligand substitution reactions are possible in coordination compounds, in which one ligand can substitute the other ligand. We have been given a coordination compound in which a ligand substitution reaction is supposed to be carried out. So we have the given coordination compound. The examiner is interested in knowing about which Cl group is going to leave and about the intermediate which is formed during this ligand substitution reaction. So students, we have two Cl, one is the labeled one and the other is not labeled, and trans to this labeled chlorine we have NO2 group, whereas trans to this Cl group we have ONO group. So there is a difference in the linkage through which the ligand is bonded to the metal ion. So we know that out of these two species, the NO2 group exerts a stronger trans effect. So it will weaken the bond between the metal and the ligand which is trans to it. The Cl which is trans to it will leave. So looking at option A and B, we have to select the option B as correct option. And if we look at option C and D, the reaction goes via the formation of square pyramidal cation. It does not proceed through a cation. It proceeds through a transition state in which a pentagonal bipyramidal transition state is formed. So students, out of C and D, we have to select option D as correct. And the correct answer to question number 24 are options B and option D. Let us look at question number 25 now. There are several methods by which CMC value of missiles can be calculated. Following types of curves are used. Pick out the correct curves which shows the correct variation of property. So in the first two graphs, we have lambda m values, and in the third we have osmotic pressure, and in the fourth we have the surface tension. So if we look at the lambda m values, we can comment that the graph given in option A is correct, because as we increase the concentration, the lambda m values is going to keep on decreasing. But as soon as the critical micellar concentration has been achieved, there will be a larger decrease in the conductivity of the solution because of association of particles, which will lead to the lessening of the charge carriers in the solution. So option A is correct. So option B automatically becomes incorrect. Let us look at option C now, in which the examiner is interested in knowing the variation of the osmotic pressure with the concentration of the surfactant added. So students, as the amount of surfactant is increased, the osmotic pressure will keep on increasing as it is directly proportional to the concentration of the ions. So it will keep on increasing until the CMC, where there will be a decrease in the rate of increase of the osmotic pressure with further amount of solute added. So students, this option is also correct. If you look at the D option now, the surface tension keeps on increasing. This graph is incorrect. Due to addition of electrolyte in the solution, the surface tension of the liquid will decrease initially until there is a formation of the missile, after which it will increase. Let us look at the next section now.